not give her certificate?
She was a very nervous-looking creature. She had bad fright last night. Perhaps it was heart failure.
Her heart certainly failed to beat. The question is, what caused it to fail?
Conscience.
And what do you mean by that, Miss Brett?
You all heard. She was accused along with her husband of having deliberately murdered her former employer, an old lady.
You believe that's true, Miss Brett?
Certainly. You all saw her last night. She broke down completely and fainted. The shock of having her wickedness brought home to her was too much for her. She literally died of fear.
It is a possible theory, but is it possible to say?
Call it, if you prefer, an act of God.
Oh, Miss Brent.
You think it impossible that a sinner should be struck down by the wrath of God? I do not.
My dear lady, in my experience of ill-doing, Providence leaves the work of chastisement and punishment to us mortals, and the process is often fraught with difficulties. There are no shortcuts.
Let's be practical. What did the woman have last night to eat and drink after she went to bed?
Nothing.
Nothing at all? Not a glass of water or a cup of tea? I'll bet you she had a cup of tea, that sort always does.
Rogers assures me that she had nothing.
He might say so.
Huh, so that's your idea.
Well, why not? You heard that accusation last night. What if it's true? Miss Brent thinks it is for one. Rogers and his missus did the old lady in. They're feeling quite safe and happy about it because they're in no immediate danger. Then, last night, some lunatic goes and spills the beans. What happens? The woman cracks, goes to pieces. Did you see him hanging around her last night when she was coming to? Not all husbandly solicitude. Not in your sweet life. He was like a cat on hot bricks. And that's the position. They've done a murder and got away with it. But if it's all going to be raked up again now, it's the woman who gave the show away. She hadn't got the nerve to brazen it out. She is a living danger to her husband. That's what she is. And him, he's all right. He'll go on lying till the cows come home. You can't be sure of her. So what does he do? He drops a nice little something into a nice cup of tea, and when she's had it, he washes the cup and saucer and tells the doctor she ain't had nothing. No, that's impossible. A man wouldn't do that. That's just why. You'd be surprised, Miss Clayton, what some husbands would do.
Excuse me, miss. I'm getting on with breakfast. I'm not much of a hand to cook, I'm afraid. This lunch is worrying me. Would cold cuts and gelatin be satisfactory? I could manage some fried potatoes, and there's canned fruit and cheese and biscuits.
Yes, that would be fine, Rogers. Thank you. Lunch? Lunch? We won't be here for lunch. And when the hell's that boat coming? We won't.
I'm afraid the boat won't be coming.
What?
Narcott's always here before 8. Is there anything else you require, miss?
No, that'll be all, Rogers. Thank you. Emmett isn't Rogers. His wife lying dead. And there he's cooking breakfast and calmly talking about lunch. Now he says the boat won't be coming? How the hell does he know? Miss Blue! What? He's, don't you see? He's just carrying on as a good servant would. It's pathetic, really. Pulling a fast one, if you ask me.
The really significant thing here is the failure of the boat to arrive. It means that we are being deliberately cut off from help.
That's very little time.
What's that, General?
I said, that's very little time. And we must not waste it talking about things that don't matter.
Why do you think Narrowcott hasn't turned up?
I think the ubiquitous Mr. Owen has given orders.
You mean told her it's a practical joke or something?
She'd never fall for that, would she?
Well, why not? Soldier Island's got a reputation for throwing crazy parties. It's just one more crazy idea, that's all. Narrowcott knows that there's plenty of food and drink on the island. She probably thinks it's all some crazy idea.
But we could go to the top of the island and light a bonfire. They'd be sure to see that.
That's probably been provided against. All signals are to be ignored. We're cut off all right.
Is there anything we can do?
Well, yes, we can do something. We can find the funny gentleman who staged this whole thing, Mr. Unknown Owen. I'll bet anything you like he's somewhere on the island. And the sooner we get to work, the better, because in my opinion, he's as mad as a hatter and as dangerous as a rattlesnake.
Hardly a very good simile, Captain Lombard. The rattlesnake at least gives warning of its approach.
Warning? My God, yes, that's our warning. 10 little soldiers. There were 10 of us after Narrowcott left, right? 10 little soldier boys going out to dine. One choked himself. Choked himself? Well, Marston choked himself, didn't he? And then 9 little soldier boys sat up very late. One overslept himself. Overslept himself. Well, that sounds an awful bit like Mrs. Rogers, right?
Do you mean that he wants to kill us all?
Yes, I think he does.
And each one fits with the rhyme?
No, it's impossible. It has to be coincidence.
But there's only 8 soldiers here. I suppose that's coincidence, too. What do you think, Miss Blower?
I don't like it.
But there's nobody on the island.
I'm not so sure of that.
This is terrible.
We are never going to leave this island.
Can't somebody shut up, Grandpa?
Got to agree with you, Judge.
Up to a point, yeah.
Then the sooner we get to work, the better. Come on, Armstrong. Come on, Blower. We will make short work of it.
I'm ready. Nobody's got a revolver by any chance. I suppose that's too much to hope for.
I've got one.
Always carry that about with you?
Usually, I've been in some tight places before.
Probably never been in a tighter place than you are today. If this Mr. Unknown Owen is on the island, he's probably got a whole arsenal on him, and he'll use it.
You may be wrong there, Laura. Often, homicidal maniacs are very quiet, unassuming people.
Delightful fellows.
You'd never know anything was wrong with them.
If Mr. Owen is one of that kind, we'll leave him to you, Doctor. Anyways, let's make a start of it. Lombard, search the house. Armstrong and I will do the island.
Right, house ought to be easy. No secret doors or sliding panels.
Mind he doesn't get you before you get him.
Oh, don't worry. I'll be all right. But you two had better stick together because one got left behind.
Come on, Armstrong.
A rather energetic young man, that Captain Lombard.
Don't you think he's right? If there's someone on the island, they're bound to find him. It's practically bare rock.
I think this problem needs brains to solve it rather than brawn.
Where are you going?
I'm going to sit in the sun and think, my dear young lady.
Where did I put that other skein of wool?
Did you leave upstairs? Shall I go and fetch it for you?
No, I'll go. I know where it's likely to be.
I'm glad Captain Lombard has got that revolver.
They're all wasting time. Wasting time.
Do you think so?
Yes. I think it's much better to sit here quietly and wait.
Wait for what?
For the end, of course. I wish I could find Leslie.
Your wife?
You should have known her. She was so pretty, so joyful.
Was she?
Yes. I loved her very much. Of course, I was much older than she was. She was only 27. Arthur Richmond was 26. He was my ADC. Leslie liked the boy. They used to talk of music and plays. She teased, made fun of him, and I was pleased. Thought she took a motherly interest in the boy. Damn fool, wasn't I? Yes, no fool like an old fool. Exactly like a book, the way I found out. One day I'm out in France. She sends a letter to the both of us. Puts him in the wrong envelope. So I knew.
Oh, no.
I don't worry, it was a long time ago. But you see, I loved her very much. I believed in her. Never said a thing to him about it. I let it gather in here. A slow, murderous rage.
I wonder what the others are doing.
I sent him to his daddy.
Oh,
Oh, it was quite easy. Mistakes were being made all the time. All anyone could say is I made a blunder, lost my nerve, sacrificed one of my best. Oh, it was quite easy. And Leslie never knew. Never told her I found out. Things went on as normal, but somehow it was never quite the same. She died of pneumonia. She had a heart-shaped face and gray eyes, brown hair that curled.
don't.
Yes, I suppose in a way it was murder. Curious murder. I'd always been such a law-abiding citizen. Serves them damn well right. At least that's what I thought. But after, well, you know. We're all going to die, you know.
I don't know.
Ah, you're young. You haven't got to that part yet. The blessed relief. That moment when you've done with it all. And you haven't got to carry the burden any longer.
General, you don't
Don't talk to me that way. You don't understand. I want to go out here and wait. Wait for Leslie to come for me.
Oh, I pray.
All correct. No secret passage, but one corpse.
Don't.
You look low. What about a drink to steady your nerves?
Drink? 2 corpses in the house before 9 a.m. and you say have a drink? An old man going quite crackers, that's all right, just have a drink. 10 people accused of murder, that's fine, so long as you have a drink. Everything's all right, so long as you have a drink.
All right. Stay thirsty.
You're just a oyster. An adventurer. You make me tired.
You are wound up. What's the matter, my sweet?
Not your sweet.
I'm sorry. I rather thought you were.
Don't think again.
Oh, come now. You don't really feel like that. We've got something in common, you and I. Rogues and murderers.
Rogues and murderers?
Right, you don't like the company of rogues and murderers, and you won't have a drink. I'll finish searching.
Unpleasant young man. I can't find it anywhere. Is anything the matter?
No, I'm just worried about the general. He really is ill, I think.
Looking out for the boat, General. His sin has found him out.
Don't.
One must face facts.
Can any of us afford to throw stones?
Even if his wife were no better than she ought to be, she must have been a depraved woman. He had no right to take judgment into his own hands.
What about Beatrice Taylor?
Who?
That was the name, wasn't it?
You are referring to that absurd accusation about myself?
Yes.
Very well. I have no objection to telling you the facts of the case. Indeed, I should like for you to hear them. It was not a fit subject to discuss before gentlemen, so naturally I refused to say anything last night. That girl, Beatrice Taylor, was in my service, and I was very much deceived in her. She had nice manners and was clean and willing. I was pleased with her. Of course, all of that was sheerest hypocrisy. She was a loose girl with no morals. Disgusting. It was some time before I found out that she was what they call in trouble. It was a great shock to me. Her parents were decent folks who had brought her up strictly. I'm glad to say that they didn't condone her behavior.
What happened?
Well, naturally, I refused to keep her an hour longer under my roof. No one shall ever say that I condoned immorality.
Did she drown herself?
Yes.
How old was she?
17.
He's 17.
Quite old enough to know how to behave. I told her what a low, depraved thing she was. I told her that she was beyond the pale and that no decent person would take her into their home. I told her that the child would be the child of sin and would be branded all its life, and that the man, naturally, wouldn't dream of marrying her. I told her that I felt soiled by ever having her under my roof.
You told a girl of 17 all that?
Yes, and I'm glad to say I broke her down utterly.
Poor thing.
I have no patience with this indulgence towards sin.
And so you turned her out of the house, and she didn't dare go home. What did you feel like when you found out that she drowned herself?
Feel like?
Yes. Didn't you blame yourself?
Certainly not. I had nothing with which to reproach myself.
Believe. If you really do feel like that, that makes it even more horrible.
That girl is unbalanced. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands.
Breakfast is ready.
The wicked shall be turned into hell. Be quiet.
Do you know where the gentlemen are, miss? Breakfast is ready.
Judge Wargrave is sitting out in the sun, and Dr. Armstrong and Miss Flora are out searching the island. I should worry about them.
Shall not the isles shake at the sound of thy fall? When the wounded cry, when the slaughter is made in the midst of thee.
Shall we go in?
I don't feel like eating.
Breakfast is ready.
When all the princes of the sea shall come down from their thrones, and lay away their robes, and put off their broidered garments, they shall clothe themselves with trembling. They shall sit upon the ground, and shall tremble at every moment, and be astonished at thee.
Reading aloud, Miss Brent.
It is my custom to read a portion of the Bible every day.
Very good habit, I'm sure.
Have any luck?
Nothing, no cover, no one hidden anywhere. Nothing.
That's right. Lombard, what about the house?
No one. I'll stake my life that there's no one in this house but ourselves. I've been over it from attic to cellar.
Breakfast is getting cold.
Breakfast? Well, come on, boy. You've been yelping about breakfast ever since you got up. Let's eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die, or who knows, perhaps even today.
You ought to be ashamed of such levity, Captain Lombard.
Oh, come on, General. We can't have this. Breakfast, sir. Oh, God. One got left behind. There's a knife in Mackenzie's back.
What? He's dead. He's dead.
But it can't be. Who could have done it? There's only us on the island.
Exactly, my dear. Don't you realize that this clever and cunning criminal is always comfortably one step ahead of us? That he knows exactly what we are going to do and makes his plans accordingly. There's only one place, you know, where a successful murderer could hide and have a reasonable chance of getting away with it.
One place? Where?
Here, in this room, Mr. Owen is one of us.